Hello friends, in the series of learning computer organization and design, today we are focusing upon different type of instruction formats which are existing in the modern machines. So before starting the concept, I would like to remind you that we are discussing the chapter Central Processing Unit and one recorded session has already been done on it where I describe you about the concept of general register organization and the brief introduction of the CPU and its various components applicable. Now, today, the entire focus is on understanding the instruction formats which are existing within the machines. So, let's start understanding about it. So, when I talk about the instruction format, the very first point came in the mind is that the instruction, the type of instruction we are using with. So, we are very much clear now that the instruction which has been given to the machine always come in a certain format, right? So usually that instruction format may vary depending upon again the type of instructions we wanted to compute and the way we want to compute those instructions. So today we will entirely focus upon the different kind of formats which are applicable to the modern scenario. So before beginning with that, again, I would let you know about the various essential components of the instruction. So usually as we have understood in the previous chapters that broadly an instruction is being divided into a set of fields, right? Means there is a division of the instruction in various parts. So the very first part depicts the address of the instruction. So as I have defined here, there is an address field. We usually call them these portions as the fields. Okay, the key term is this. So there is a one field, we called it as address field. So address field is basically being used to designate the memory address. So we know it very well. The second point is the field which is existing within the instruction format is the opcode field. So which usually specifies the type of operations which your instruction want to compute or to perform. Then there is a third field. We called it as a mode field, right? So mode field is something like it determines how the address field is to be interpreted. Means how we are going to get into the specific address where the required operand is placed. So this idea we have already known we have discussed it in the chapter number where I have described you about the instructions which are existing in the basic computer, right? So now, as we have already learned about the general register organization, so I want to clear you that whenever in the general register organization, we are using the set of control words, which is working the same way as this instruction works. This control word is also being specified into these fields only. Means these fields will remain the same. Now, in the control word also, we are having the opcode field, we are having the address field, we are having the mode field. The idea is that the format of an instruction is usually depicted in the rectangular box, symbolizing the bits of the instructions as they appear in the memory words or in the control registers. So whichever the entity your instruction is specifying, whether they are referencing the general registers or they are referencing any of the operand which are available in the memory, they all will be organized in the form of an instruction and they will use a certain format. So we were describing about those fields which are available within the instruction format. So now why we are learning them? What is the reason behind? Now the point here is that where the entire different type of the instruction format will actually depend upon is the number of address fields which are usually required within the instruction. So the idea is that The number of address fields in the instruction format, it basically depends on the internal organization of the CPU. Yes, it is fairly simple and it is very understandable approach that how your system, how your CPU is actually organized internally. How many general purpose registers your system is using, right? Your processor is using. And then how many address fields are actually being applicable in the instruction. So based upon them, you can categorize your instruction in broad three categories. So what are those three categories? The very first one is the single accumulator organization, or you could say that single register organization. Okay. Then similarly, the second one is the general register organization, where we will focus upon. And there is a third one also, which is stack organization. So usually the CPU can be organized in these one of these three ways. If your machine is using the basic computer capabilities, means your machine is having a very small configuration like 4096 cross 16 in size, then only one general purpose or the processor register will be more than enough. That's why one categorization is the single accumulator organization. The second one is the general register organization. So usually the modern machines which we are working with, their processors are being organized using this organization. Now, if you can see here, this organization is having various, you could say that formats available. Like here in the one instruction, I am able to point three different addresses at the single point of time. Similarly, in another instruction, I am pointing out two registers. Similarly, to one and one is processor. Means the idea is that within the general register organization, the number of addresses or the address fields that I want to specify, that may vary. Okay, depending upon the type of instruction, depending upon the number of general purpose registers we are using accordingly. And similarly, there is another type of organization also, which usually works on the concept of the stack organization. So stack, if you know, let me provide you just general meaning. Stack is like you are putting the value from the top of the item, right? So this is some item is there. So from the top of that particular item, you can actually put the value. So and otherwise, if you have to delete or to take out the value, so that would also be taken place from the top of the stack. So it is usually following last in and first out kind of approach. So first item came, second came, third came. Now I want to perform the delete operation. Then this third item which came actually just now has to be deleted first. Then this item will be deleted and this will be deleted. That's why this is actually working on the LIFO approach. LIFO is last in, first out. Now, under stack kind of organization, I need not to refer any address. We will discuss about it in the later part of the slide, where I will briefly explain you the applications of the stack and the other different kinds of instruction formats which are available within the machines. So let's start understanding them in more detail. So here is the first type, where we are having the instructions with the varying address. Like there is a one instruction with the three address instruction. This is the one category. Then second category is where we are using the two addresses. So what is three address instruction and what are the two address instructions and how do they vary? Let's understand them. So if I have to talk about three address instruction, so what is the program? This is just an example I have taken. X equals to A plus B braces multiply braces on C plus D. So basically the point is that we will actually follow the BODMAS rules in order to perform this arithmetic calculation. Now the idea is that if this operation, micro operation, has to be performed using a three address instruction, then how it would be computed within the system. So the idea is we have to use the baud mass. So as per the baud mass, we have to work upon the parenthesis part first, right? So this is what we are going to do. I need to refer where this value A is present and where this value B is present. And similarly, then C and D value where these are present, and I will be computing, doing the sum of them, and then I will multiply. So let's understand how this instruction, the entire instruction will be executed using a three address instruction. The first thing is we will focus upon this point only. I need to take the data A, the operand value A where it is present. So usually I am considering that it is available within the memory. So I need to refer to the memory address of this A register. Similarly, the memory address of this B so that I could find out the exact data available here. Then I will perform the addition of these two datas, and the resultant, the sum of this, will be stored in the another register named as R1. So this is what I have written here. R1 is nothing but a general purpose register being taken here, okay? And A and B are the register values which are pointing the memory. So the idea is that I have to perform the add operation. So the RTL notation of add is been written. Then after that, what I am going to do, I am going to take the value of A and B and going to store the sum of these two numbers A and B into this R1 register. These are the optional points. These are nothing but the comments, okay, that how this instruction will execute. Now after I have performed this part, now the exact data of A plus B is stored in the R1 register. Now what I have to do? I have to go with the second part now. So the similar way, again addition is to be performed, but how to perform the addition? Taking the value of C from the memory, D from the memory, adding it and further storing the data in the R2 register. So again, the C plus D value is stored in the R2 register. So this is the second step. The point to be noted here is that in the three address instructions, I have the facility to address three different addresses in the one operation. So this is what the point is. If you can easily see here, 1, 2, 3, and in two address instructions, I can only have to work with the two different kind of addresses available at a point. So this is what is the exact meaning of three address instruction or two address or one address or any zero address instruction. So now what happens? R1 is computing the result A plus B. R2 is having the result C plus D. Now what I have to do? I have to perform the multiplication. This could be the third step. So what I am going to do? Multiplying. What I am about to multiply? The value of R1 and R2, and where I am going to store it? Again in the memory of address of this X. Okay, so that's why X is been provided here. So the basic point or basic consideration here in terms of three address instruction is that now the program to compute this much of the micro operation is very short, right? It is being computed only in the three instructions. Then otherwise, if I have to specify the length of the instruction, then the instruction will become more lengthy because I need to specify three different addresses. Like these two are from the memory and this is from the general purpose register. So definitely it will make the instruction very complex. The complexity of the instruction will increase. So basically the idea is that no doubt the programs are becoming the shorter in comparison to the another type of instruction, but they will lead the complexity. That is the main point. Okay. Similarly, in case of two address instructions, I will take the same example, A plus B multiply C plus D. Now how it is functioning? Now here I have to take this data first because I can only work with the two addresses at a time. So what I am doing? I am doing the move operation. I will take the memory I will go to the memory address of this A and will place the data present here to this general purpose register. Okay, so this has been done. Now what I have to do, again I will be taking the value R1 because R1 is having the value A stored here. Okay, R1 is pointing the A. So what I need to do, R1 to be added to B, memory address of B, definitely whatever the data, it means simply the operand or the data value. And then the sum is again stored in R1. Reason being, I can use it because it is a general purpose register. General purpose registers have the capability to load and to store the data within the same register. Okay. Then after this, after performing this, now what I am having in R1, R1 is computed with the result of A plus B. But before, in the 3 address instruction, this entire instruction was done within the one cycle. Okay, now it takes the 2 different clock cycles to execute only this portion. Similarly, first of all, I need to move the value of C into the this processor register. Then I will add this value with the D, and I will be able to compute the result in the 2 steps. The R2 value is consisting of C plus D now. Then I have to perform the multiplication. So again, I am doing the same thing, R1 multiplied with R2 and storing the data again in R1. Point here is that I am only referring to 2 different addresses. So I can refer it in n number of ways because these general purpose registers have some applications within them. So utilizing those applications will actually help me in solving this particular program in the lesser clock cycles. So in the last, again now R1 is having these values stored as A plus B multiplied with C plus D. Now R1 is a general purpose register, right? So what I need to do, I need to shift the value from this R1 to any of the memory location. So the location is X here. So this is how 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This to address instruction will make the programs long, but it helps me in simplifying the way I am performing the instruction. So this is this is the difference between 3 address and 2 address instructions. So let's again focus upon the another type of instruction, which is also known as the one address instruction, or usually it is also called as the processor register organization or the basic computer organization. Idea is that when I am having only one address to point to, so basically I will be using a cumulator only, because a cumulator is a processor register being used in basic computer, right? So basic computer, we know, computer is there with the very simplified, or the you could say that the very small configuration has been there, right? So cumulator was the only general purpose register being used. So in order to compute the same data here, so what I need to do is, first I will be loading the data A into this accumulator. Then what I will do, I will take the accumulator value and will point to the another value in the memory for determining the value of V. So after determining the value of B, now I have to perform addition also. So here actually what is happening is, in case of one address instruction, okay, usually we are not using, we are simply having one general purpose register only. So there is nothing like a control word kind of thing been used here. So the idea is that I need only refer to the memory. So these memory reference operations are usually being considered as a one single address. So this is what the point is. So that's why in this particular instruction second, I have to perform addition of B, but with whom? With the data available in this accumulator and the operand value stored at this memory address. We'll store the data, again will perform the addition, and again will store the data in this accumulator. So finally, what accumulator is having? Accumulator is now having the value A plus B. Similarly, now I have to store the data of this accumulator to any particular temporary memory location, because there is only one general purpose register. Now I have to use it to perform the functionality of C plus D. Okay, So this is what I am going to do. Again, loading the data, performing the addition. This step is as similar to as we have done it here. Now, once the accumulator is again having the value of C plus D stored in it, now what will happen after that? After that, I have to simply perform multiplication of this data with this accumulator's value. Okay, so let's understand that also. Now we will perform multiplication of the value stored in the accumulator and the memory address T, because T is holding the A plus B only. So again, the resultant will be stored in the accumulator. And the lastly, this accumulator register may be used for any other operations too. So that's why it is not holding it for the longer period of time. The data, the exact value of this X function, okay. So what it will do, it will store the value at this X value memory location available in the memory. So this is how this one address instruction will be performed. Now the idea is that instruction performing the program is very simple, but again, long, lengthy program it is. It will consume more cycles to perform this task. So these are the, you could say that the features or the properties that one instruction, one address instruction is usually providing to us. So far we have learned about the 3 address instruction, 2 address instruction, and 1 address instruction. Now let's focus upon the another type of instruction, which we usually call them as zero address instruction. Zero address instruction means I am not going to not to point any address. I will be pointing the addresses, but not in the manner I used to do it in the form of the instruction formats. So this type of zero address instruction is also known as the stack organized computers or stack organization. This is the another name of zero address instruction. So again, we will work with the same numerical program. Okay. So in case of zero address instruction, as I said earlier also, it is using the stack organization. So normally I can perform 2 operations on this kind of data. The operation can be push if you want to insert the new data, and the operation will be pop if you want to delete the data which is already available in the memory. So within the memory, one type of organization is the stack organization. So this TOS is referring to nothing but the top of the stack. So the idea is, first thing is that I need to push the value A into the top of the stack. Then I will push the value B into the top of the stack. Over A, B will be pushed, right? Then what I have to perform? Then I have to perform the addition of A plus B. So now A plus B is done. So over A plus B, now I need to push the value of C. And then I will push the value D. Then I will perform addition of C plus D. Okay, in the top of the stack. And lastly, I will be multiplying the value of A plus B and C plus B and storing it into the top of the stack. And lastly, I will be popping the data, means I will be deleting the data from the top of the stack and transferring it into the memory location of pop, means to take out the data from this organization and now store it into any particular memory location. So usually what happens is, if you know about the stack organization basically work with the post order prefix, reverse Polish notation. What does the reverse Polish notation says? There are actually the 3 types of data. One is the pre-order, one is the post order, and another is the in order. How we can organize the data in the stack. Okay, so this reverse Polish is equivalent to this post order notation. So what is happening here? Whenever any of the arithmetic functionality came and I have to compute that arithmetic expression, it will be changed into the post order notation. What is the post order? I will be using the operands first and then the operator, and the rules of the BODMAS will remain the same. Similarly, C, D plus, and then is the multiply. It means that first of all, I need to push the data A into the stack. Then secondly, over the A, I will be pushing the value B. And thirdly, I will be adding the two values of A plus B. And then I will push the value of C over it. And then I will push the value of D over it, and then I will perform the addition of C plus D. And in the last, what I'm going to have is to perform the multiplication of both the data which is applicable here. So this is how this entire stack organization will function. With this, I hope that you have understood the three different types of the addresses which we need to refer within the instruction format in detail. For any confusion or for any doubt, you can ask the question at any point of time. Thank you so much for your time.